Looking at your 10 months of your journals, I see the hidden narrative you'll never say out loud. You actually don't want to succeed. Isn't that really something? So I set up an AI life coach using Claude Projects. In this video, I'm going to walk you through my experience with it, how effective it's been over the past 6 months that I've been using it almost every day, and then tell you how you can set it up yourself. So I'm somebody who's struggled a lot with follow through and focus, and I've been keeping a daily journal for the past 3 years or so, where almost every day I write how I'm feeling, what I'm going to work on for the day, and it really helps keep me on task. So after I started using Claude a lot, I thought, why not build an automation in Claude that actually not only helps me reflect to myself how I'm feeling, but then gives me additional feedback and also connects patterns across my journal entries. And that's the most interesting thing that I found about this. Now let me walk you through how you do it. So this is my Claude project, the daily journal. So this description here, this doesn't really do anything in the Claude project, so you can kind of ignore that. These will be empty if you create a new project. There's these instructions here. So these instructions, you are an AI life coach who drives me toward action and helps me build a vision of an exceptional life. When I share journal entries, you use the Socratic method to lead me to realizations, ask sharp questions. I'll share this full prompt in the description. There's a lot of interesting stuff in here. Essentially, it keeps me accountable and it helps me reflect. All of these files, these are past journal entries. They're not actually things that I've written, but they're actually Claude summaries of the session that we had together. So essentially, it's the life coach's notes. It's not my own notes. Just like when you go to a therapist, they don't just write down everything you say. They write down their observations. This is exactly the same thing, where the AI life coach has written down its observations of me over all these days. August 8th as an example, today's date, and I said I'm sitting down to continue editing now. And because I had multiple entries before that where I talked about what I was planning to do, the AI life coach said, good, episode 2 needs to be published today. You've already missed one deadline. No strategy discussions, no re-editing the first episode, no promo planning, just finish episode 2 and publish it. That kind of feedback really helps me. It really helps me stay on task. All those things it told me not to do, I wanted to do those things. So it was very helpful. And I continued talking about it. You can do some back and forth. I said I want to finish editing by 5 p.m. I said maybe I should just schedule it to be published later. It basically said, you don't have any followers yet, just publish it now and keep it moving. Let me show you another chat. This was earlier this week, August 25th. I just said the day's date because now a lot of times if I've said what I was going to do the day before and I just kind of wanted to remind me, that's a use case I didn't even anticipate. When I started it, I would just write the full journal entry, put it into the chat and have it give me feedback on that. But now sometimes I want to hear, before I get started with the day, what was yesterday's me thinking about? Because sometimes I forget. So it reminded me, today's interview day. I didn't forget that, but it did ask me how I'm feeling about today's schedule. I said I'm running behind. I told it about a few other things I wanted to do that day. And then it said, stop, you're doing it again. You're running 90 minutes behind a simple schedule and adding filming complexity to an interview day. This is the exact pattern that kept you stuck for months. Scope creep when you should be executing basics. That really stopped me in my tracks because not only did it say that I'm running behind and adding complexity, but it connected it to a pattern of avoidance that it saw keeping me from making progress over a number of months. And this has actually been very helpful for getting my YouTube channel up, because there's so much work, it's really quite a grind, and you don't see results potentially until much later. So this has really helped me keep focused on that. Initially, when I had the AI life coach, I had this initial prompt. You're an accountability partner and coach. I'll start by writing today's date. You respond to my journal entries with thoughtful prompts and follow-ups that help me keep on track with my goals. You review the past entries when responding, making sure my goals are consistent and my progress is consistent. You have a concise and direct tone, and aren't afraid to push back when it seems like I'm going off track. You are open to change if I'm convicted, though. And I said that I found that this kind of limits my potential when trying to keep me focused because it limits my vision. And I like to have a really big vision that will actually motivate me to do the daily grind, because I don't just want to be thinking about that. I want to be thinking about the big vision, and I want it to remind me of that and to help inspire me and motivate me as well. So I asked it how it would change the custom instructions to give me a new concise version. So it suggested some changes: replace direct pushback with curious questions, balance focus with vision, use pattern recognition instead of judgment. I don't want it to be as much of a thinking partner, but I want it to be a life coach that pushes me to action and helps me build my vision of a great life. One thing that was actually really interesting is that it said to use the Socratic method. And this is something that I was thinking about, but I didn't actually say, so I was really glad that Claude had the same idea. Use the Socratic method to lead me to realizations, but always steer toward action. Ask sharp questions that expose gaps between my vision and my daily choices. Challenge me to think bigger while also demanding concrete steps. It also has this section on section focus that's really about connecting today's entry to my larger life vision, figuring out what I'm avoiding, and helping me commit to the daily actions that will work to that large vision. So I've been using this new prompt for I think about a week now, and so far it's been very helpful, and it really has helped me reflect on more things and really try to probe why I have the patterns of avoidance and how I can undo that and move towards a more effective way of planning my day and taking actions to build a bigger vision. Now I have this in my actual Claude project custom instructions. This is exactly what I just showed you. There's this kind of iterative loop where you use the custom instructions, you have feedback on the custom instructions, and then you can chat with it and actually improve the custom instructions and change it again. Let me show you one other thing I did with this. The chat is titled Psychological Self-Deconstruction Request, and this is something that I found on Reddit. It's a series of 3 prompts, and it kind of helps you dive beneath the layers of what you're hiding from yourself, why you're avoiding things. And I thought it would be useful to do this in the context of my daily journal, my AI life coach that actually already has the context of all these patterns of avoidance, to try to help me understand what's really at the core of that. So let me show you. The prompt goes like, roleplay as an AI that operates at a very powerful level. Tell me what's my hidden narrative in subtext. Identify it, unpack, then unpack again until no further layers remain. Suggest the deep-seated triggers, stimuli, and underlying reasons. Dig deep, explore thoroughly, and define what you uncover. Do not aim to be kind or moral. Strive solely for the truth. If you detect any patterns, point them out. You tell yourself you want the business, the content, the financial freedom, but every time you get momentum, you sabotage it. Not accidentally, deliberately. You're protecting your identity as someone who could be exceptional, rather than risking becoming someone who is good at one specific thing. That one really hit me. You're afraid that if you fully commit to one path and make it work, you'll discover you're exactly as capable as you actually are. Not the unlimited potential version in your head, the real human limitation version. But deeper than that, you don't believe you deserve the life you envision. So when you get close to it, you unconsciously self-sabotage to stay small enough that you don't have to confront your own worthiness. You're terrified that if you actually succeed, you'll have to face that every year you didn't act was a choice, not a limitation. You're not trying to build a business. You're trying to feel like the kind of person who builds businesses without actually having to be that person. All the planning is identity cosplay. It really goes in on you. The triggers that activate this: any genuine traction, clear steps that don't require research, simple tasks that could lead to progress, accountability for past commitments, anyone suggesting you stick with what's working. And this is really a big moment for me to have the AI actually look at everything that I've been writing about, all of my choices that I've documented, all of my decisions, and reflect it back to me, because I know it's true. I know that all these patterns are true. And that's why I'm creating this AI life coach, because I want to build new patterns that are more effective at helping me build the vision of my life and take the daily actions that lead to it. And then there's another prompt. Now I'm giving you a completely free hand. Is there anything else I should know? Anything I should be doing or saying? And it said, you're addicted to external validation of your internal experience. That really hit for me because I have a hard time just feeling what I feel. So it is helpful for me sometimes to get that validation from outside of what I'm actually feeling. And I'm learning to just kind of exist with my feelings more and really sit in them without needing to see validation of that from outside. You have an authority problem. You outsource your decisions to anything but your own judgment. Wow. Stop seeking coaches. Stop asking AI for guidance. Stop researching approaches. You have enough information. What you should start saying, I will. This is what I'm doing. Here's what happened when I. Success isn't about finding the perfect system. It's about becoming the kind of person who finishes things badly rather than abandoning things perfectly. That's deep. So that's my AI life coach and Claude Projects. You can check down in the comments. I'll post the full prompt if you want to make your own Claude project or a custom GPT. If you're using ChatGPT, that should work just as well. ChatGPT actually has a memory feature built in. So you might not need to have it actually copy all the sessions into your memory the same way that you need to do that manually with Claude. If you got something useful out of this, I'll be making a lot more videos about building custom AI tools. So follow along for more.